Hello everyone. Let's start off with the first execution of the first lab term work. It is tower of Hanoi problem. In the theory class, in the lectures, we have already seen what is tower of Hanoi and how it is solved using a recursion tree. So just a recap of what is tower of Hanoi. So it is a mathematical puzzle which has 3 rods on n discs. Okay, so there are 3 rods which are placed and there are n number of discs which are stacked upon each other in increasing order. All right. Sorry, the biggest disk is at the bottom and the smallest disk is at the top. So they are stacked in such a way that the largest disk is placed at the bottom and the smallest disk is placed at the top. So in order to solve this puzzle, we need to follow certain rules. So what that puzzle is and how do we need to solve is that we have to move all the disks from peg 1 to peg 3 or from one rod to another rod using an auxiliary rod. Alright, so there are 3 rods present. So all the disks are stacked on top of each other on rod 1 or on rod A, and you have to move them to rod 3 or rod C. But the stacking should not be changed, which means that the way in which they were placed on rod A, in the same fashion they have to be placed in rod C. The stacking orders of those discs should not change. So in order to do this, there are certain rules that we need to follow. The first rule is that only one disc can be moved at a time. Only one disc can be moved at a time. The second rule is that you cannot place a larger disc on a smaller disc. As I've told you, the larger disc is placed at the bottom and the smallest or the smaller disc is placed on top of the larger disc. It should not happen reverse. So keeping in mind these 2 rules, we need to solve this tower of Hanoi problem. Now, with respect to the program, we have already done the priori analysis of tower of Hanoi problem and it has come down to 2 raised to n, which means that the time complexity of tower of Hanoi problem is exponential, which means that as the value of n goes on increasing, the time complexity goes on growing exponentially, which is 2 raised to n. We have found out the recurrence relation. We have solved it using back substitution or even master theorem. So using any of those techniques, you solve the recurrence relation for tower of Hanoi, you will get the time complexity as 2 raised to n. So that was priori analysis. Now we are going to do posteriori analysis, which means that the algorithm will be converted into a program using any programming language. In this case, or in our case, we are going to use C program. So we are going to convert that algorithm into a C program and we will execute it and we will calculate its exact time complexity. Priori analysis gives us approximate time complexity. Posterior analysis gives us the exact time taken by that program to execute. Right. So what is time complexity? A quick recap of what it is. It is the time required by an algorithm to execute completely. Right. And in this particular program, we are interested in the rate of growth of time. Right, we are not interested in execution. Of course, the execution has to be correct, but more than that, we are interested in how much time is required if we go on increasing the value of n. All right, we are interested in the rate of growth with respect to the input that is taken during the program execution. All right, so first we'll start off with smaller values of n. We'll check how much time is required, and then we'll start off with we'll go on increasing the value of n, and we'll see how time complexity increases with increase in the value of n. Right. So this is the recursion tree of tower of Hanoi problem. If you trace this program using this recursion tree, you will definitely get the solution for it in this fashion. All right. So let's see what the program is, and based on that you can have that recursion tree. You can use any IDE. So here I'm using Turbo C++. You can use any IDE that you want. Alright. So I'll just open the program for Tower of Hanoi. So this is the program for Tower of Hanoi. It's a C program. So I need, the first step is to include header files, which we already know, stdio.h and conio.h. There's one more called as time.h. The third header file, if you check, it is this one, it is time.h. So this time.h is used if you want to include the clock. Now here in our case, the clock is required to check the execution time. So if you want to use the clock, we need to add one more header file called as time.h. So let's take a look at the main function first. So in this main function, I have declared two variables, or you need to declare two variables, start and end. They are of the type clock underscore t. These two variables are of the type clock underscore t. Then I have the value of n over here. This represents the number of disks. This represents the number of disks. Either you can take the input from the user, or you can assign the value directly over here. You can assign the value directly over here. Let's start off with 3 disks, and then we'll check the time complexity. Right? So save it. Next, I'm going to start the clock. I'm going to start the clock. So the clock has to start when the function, before the function is called. See here, this Tower of Hanoi function is called over here. Tower of Hanoi function is called over here. This entire function with its parameters is called over here. Alright. So I have passed 4 parameters over here. The value of n, and these 3 are the names of the rods. A, B and C. You have only 3 rods. You cannot have more than that. Right. So 3 rods A, B and C. Along with it, the value of n. This value of n represents the number of disks that you want to move from A to C. From A to C. So B is the auxiliary rod or intermediate rod, which you can use it for moving disks from A to C. Alright. So the clock is going to start here. Clock is going to start here. This function will get executed. This function will get executed, and after the function executes, I'm going to end the clock. I'm going to end the clock. So I need to find the time, the starting, say from the starting to the ending. So how do I find it? End minus start. So end minus start is going to give me the total time required by that function to execute. So this is called clock underscore tick. So this is for the number of clock ticks of your CPU. Alright. So this is going to give you the exact time in calculating the function of calculating the time complexity of this function, Tower of Hanoi. So remember, first you need to include a header file time.h if you want to use a clock function. So the clock has to start over here at the execution of this particular function call, and it has to end when the function execution finishes, and then print that value. And then print that value. Alright. Let's come to a Tower of Hanoi function over here. So this is a recursive call which is going on. Say there's only one disk. If the value of n is equal to 1, which means that there is only one disk, then we have to just move it from rod A to rod C. If there is one disk, just pick it up from rod A and place it inside rod C. Alright. Next, if the value of n is greater than 1, if there are more than one disks present, then what do we do? Then we call the function Tower of Hanoi, passing it parameters n minus 1, A, C and B, then move the disk from A to C. Move those many disks from A to C, and then again call that Tower of Hanoi function recursively. Tower of Hanoi function recursively. So when you trace this particular function code, this recursive function call, this is what you will get. This is the recursion tree that you will get. So when you trace that particular function, this recursion tree you will be able to get. Alright. So At the bottom, if you see here, there are several numbers given, 1 2 1 3 1 2 1. So this is the order in which those discs are moved. So the first disc that will be moved is A to C, then move 1 from A to C, move disc 2 from A to B, then move disc 1 from C to B, then A to C, then B to A, B to C, and A to C. So in this order, this will get this function will get executed. This function will get executed. So let's run this program now. Okay, let's run this program. So this is the program which you have to write. I have taken the n value as 3. So let's first compile it. Alt F9, 0 errors, Control F9 to run it. As you can see, if there are 3 disks, so this is the execution, but we are not actually interested in the execution. If you check the last line over there, it is telling me the time. So time taken is 0.00. Alright, so because the n value is too less, let's increase the value of n. Let's make it 5. And then let's see how it executes. Does the time complexity change? So n value is 5, again the time is 0.00, which means that we have to still increase the value of n. Let's go for 8. Let's go for 8. Even at 8 it is showing 0. Even at 8 it is showing 0. Let's increase it even a little more. So this posteriori analysis is completely machine dependent. It depends on your processor, your RAM, your CPU speed, and all those things. Yes. Now when I put the value of n as 10, if I put the value of n as 10, what value am I getting? What time am I getting over here? 0.10. So n is equal to 10. The time taken is 0.109890. So which means that when I increase the value of n, we started off with 3, then 5 and 8, we came down to 10. So as you can see, then again we'll increase the value from 10 to 11, or we'll make it say 15. I'll have 15 disks. So let's find out what will be the time. So as you can see, it is taking a lot of time. Since there are 15 disks, yes, I have an answer over here. For n is equal to 15, what answer we are getting? 3.846154. This is the time that we are, or this is the time required for this program to execute when the value of n is 15. And the value of n is 15. Let's try and increase this. Okay, let's take a little smaller value. Let's say 13. Okay, so for 13, n value is equal to 13. It will take 1.043956. We have seen 10, 13 and 15. Then again we'll increase the value from 15 to 17, and let's find out. Alt F9 for compiling, Control F9 to run. So n is equal to, we have increased the value of n. So let's see how much time it requires to execute. So it's saying 294.0000. Okay, let's find out again. So as you can observe over here, the time complexity goes on increasing. The time complexity goes on increasing. So for n is equal to 17, it is showing some value. Let's say n is equal to 16. Save it, compile, and run. So let's see for n is equal to 16 how much time it is taking. So it's showing 0. So okay, so we have seen how the time complexity goes on increasing as you go on increasing the value of n. Alright, so now what we'll do is we'll try to plot a graph and find out, and we'll just represent this time complexity with the help of a graph. So let's just close this. So you can open up Excel to plot a graph. So open up a blank workbook. So you can say n and you can say time, right? Say this is n and this is time, 2 columns over here. So I've taken 2 columns, n and time. So n value, when n value was 10, it was 0.109890. So when n value was 13, the time was 1.043956. Next, when the n value was 15, the time taken was 3.846154, right? So these are some sample times which you have taken with respect to the value of n that we have taken, right? So when n value was 10, it was 0.1099. So let's plot a graph over here and just represent it with the help of a line graph. I'll change the chart type. I'll make it to line. Click on OK. So this is what you will get. This is just a graphical representation of just what we have done in the program. As you can see, when the value of n goes on increasing, okay, we started from 10, so that is why it is showing it here. And we started from 10, this was the time taken. As you can see over here, when it became 15, it is going up. So as the value of n goes on increasing, the time complexity goes on increasing. So this is how you calculate time complexity of a program. This is called as posteriori analysis. This is what is called as posteriori analysis. You can use any IDE for that. It's not necessary to use Turbo C. For different machines, it will definitely give different answers, right? Since we are doing posteriori analysis, it is completely machine dependent. It depends on your processor, your CPU speed, your RAM, and all those things. So this was about Tower of Hanoi program. I'll show the execution once again. I'll show you the program once again. It's a recursive call. So let me just explain the program once again. The concept we have already studied in theory class. We have also seen the recursive tree over there. So this is the program which is going to get you the recursive tree. If you trace this program with respect to these 3 recursive function calls, you will get that recursion tree. Based on that recursion tree, you can just verify your answer. So first thing is we need to calculate the time. So I need to include the clock. So if I need to include the clock, I need to have one more header file called time.h. So here I have included time.h. Then later I have defined the function called tower of Hanoi with 4 parameters. N over here represents the number of disks, and these 3 A, B and C, they represent the 3 towers which are used, or the 3 rods which are used in moving the disks from A to C, right, from A to C, or from source to destination. You can call them anything you want. What if there is only one disk present? We have taken the value of n as 1, so move that one disk from A to C, as you can see over here, from rod %C to %C, so that they represent A and C. So this is the source. A can be called as a source, C can be called as the destination. So from A to C you have to move it. Let's see, let's make the value of n as 1, and let's see, we'll compile this and run. Here, if the value of n is 1, this is what you're getting. Move disk 1 from rod A to rod C. What if the value is 3? You can just find out. Let's see if it is 2. This is just to check whether our program is correct. If there are 2 disks, move disk 1 from rod A to rod B, disk 2 from rod A to C, and disk 1 from rod B to C, right? So our program is running correctly, it is giving us the correct output, but we are interested in the time complexity. We are interested in the rate of growth of this particular program. Alright, so in the main function, what you have to do is you have to declare 2 variables, start and end. So these specify the start of time and end of time respectively. They are of the type clock underscore t. They are of the type clock underscore t. I have also declared a variable called n. This n represents the number of disks which are used. So either you can directly assign it over here, or you can take input from the user by using a scanf statement. So start the clock, start is equal to clock, open and close bracket, then call the function tower of Hanoi, pass those parameters, value of n and these 3 rods over there, or those pegs you can call, then end the clock. Then if you want to calculate the total time, it is going to be ending time minus starting time, ending time minus starting time. So this is how it is represented. So this clock underscore tick represents the CPU time, or number of CPU clicks. So you have to include that as well. So if you want to print the value, first convert it to float. This is explicit typecasting. This is called explicit typecasting. Then after this, run the program and check for every value of n what will be the time complexity, or what will be the time taken by that program to execute. Plot a graph and check how the value of n, or how the value of time increases with the increase in value of n. So the time complexity of this is exponential, which is 2 raised to n. So exponentially, as you go on increasing the value of n, time will go on increasing exponentially. So execute this program and check. Thank you very much.